Hi, and I'm Shawn, and our app is called Social Deeds, Volunteering Made Social. So our attempt here was to bring volunteerism to a broader audience. We all know people who do volunteer do it so out of the kindness of their own hearts. But there aren't many of those people around. So we want to broaden the act of volunteerism to the more selfish crowd, and namely gamers and corporations. So what we're doing here is trying to offer corporations a more recognizable way of being charitable. And so one of the questions is, how do we encourage people to do good deeds? And so Eugene's going to talk about that.
Okay, so the question is, how do we encourage people to do good deeds? And the answer is gamification. And gamification is the application of game design elements and game principles in non-game contexts. It improves user engagement and ease of use, and it discourages apathy, which volunteers frequently experience.
And now we'll go to a demo of our application. So when the person opens up the application, they have the option of registering an account with the username, an email, password, and something about themselves. Right. They then can log in. Right. Once they're logged in, they have the option to create a deed, which will have a form with the title, dates, slots available, deed coins, and they can post images if they please. Below that, they have a leaderboard with all the top deeds. And on the other side, they have a leaderboard with all the top volunteers and an option to do deeds. Once they click on do a deed, they have the list of deeds, and they can click on one. So the first one we have is an animal shelter one. They have a description, sponsors, date, time, and a badge that they can possibly get from doing the deed. For the sake of time, we're going to sign up, and once they sign up and they complete the deed, the number of deed coins they can receive will be added onto their existing deed coins. Then they then can go to the leaderboard and see who has done the most deeds. They can type in their name and see where they stand on the deeds. We also have a sliding marquee that shows news. If you hover over them, you can see the coins that they can receive. And you can see the badges on the leaderboard as well. Poverty, crisis, education, and such. So for the initial write-up mock-up, we use Balsamic, and we tried to make it as easy as possible so anyone in any age can use it. So we had just simple create and do buttons with scrolling text around it.
On the right, you see we have a sign-up page. It held pretty true to the design. You can make a deed, and then you fill out the below, and you can create the deed.
We also had a table with the deeds, which you saw in our demo, and we planned on having a page with the users and the deeds leaderboards, but we decided against that, and we just made them two separate pages. And for the profile, we didn't really get to it, but we thought about a mock-up for the profile.
So here's a summary of some of the technologies that we used. We metacoded all of the pages to make searchable with Google Analytics. Our data is stored in a MySQL database, which is interfaced through Sequelize. We use data tables to populate the deeds and also the users and the leaderboards. Sites are rendered with Bootstrap. The dates are formatted with Moment. And we use cookies through an npm package in Express to log each user session. And our IDE, which we used, was WebStorm, which Eugene pushed on us, which we love now, by the way.
So I primarily worked on the forms and validating some of them. And for the ease of use, we decided to use hide and show functions, so it would make it easier to for the user to navigate the page. Some of the difficulties we faced with that was getting it to actually, when it clicked, it to show. So some of the IDs were kind of mixed up, so it took us a while to get a hang of that. But once the person clicked submit on the form, it went into MySQL, and Shawn was able to populate the tables.
And so I also worked on the deeds table. So you can see here that we wanted to show all of the deeds available. And this is done by making one SQL query to the deeds table, which, because it's small right now, we were able to just pull it all in and have the jQuery data table handle the UI. So one interesting thing that we needed to do here was, again, show all of the deeds available, but not necessarily all of the attributes of that deed. So we accomplished this, as you saw in the demo, by hiding additional details about each deed in a collapsible row within the table. And so here we have a few clever listeners here, which add classes to clicked and unclicked rows, and then basically whether your row is clicked or not determines whether a child row is shown below, which is essentially another table within the table. And then getting this to show in a comfortable and something user-friendly was a bit of a challenge. But we did okay with it, I think, here. So Eugene's going to talk about some of the other technologies used.
Okay. For some of the other technologies that were used, we used last in, first out stack for the scrolling marquee. I don't know if we can sign up enough deeds right now, but basically as more people sign up, it drops the earlier deeds that are done, or the earlier badges. We used a custom SQL query that dynamically generated a rank column for ordering the coins. So even though we used Sequelize, we ended up doing a raw query because Sequelize doesn't really have an option for that. The badges are dynamically generated with Bootstrap tooltips. For the user table, the passwords are stored as a salted SHA-256 hash for security reasons. We use cookies for logging in, and when deploying to Heroku, we used Loggly to log any actions and for debugging.
Okay, so we had a profile page and registration, which we unfortunately did not integrate into the app. But as you can see, once you register, it gives you a little bit more information that you can include about yourself. Your about, your contact, your email, your phone number, availability, what you're interested in. Then once you have your profile page, it'll show you the badges earned, your points, about yourself. Basically, this would allow a community. You could have forums, people can contact people, they can get together, they can meet up. And it kind of brings, a social aspect to the app.
So some of the future improvements, some additional future improvements that we want to include would be to bring more value to the deed coins that are earned for each deed that is done. Possibly with corporate sponsorship, we could turn those deed coins into actual coins, which are usable. And then what I can see happening here is that corporate entities such as Amazon sponsors a bunch of deeds out there, which users then go and perform for deed coins, which are then redeemable back at Amazon. And so it's a nice happy circle. Also a message board so that users can interact with each other, as Dan mentioned. And then some more work on integrating the CSS and the data tables. A little bit more styling other than white and gray in there would be nice. Something a little more fluid. And so that's our app. Thank you.